Good afternoon, everybody. I am with Miss Ezeb, and she is the.
Administrative assistant to the Department of Music.
And I'll be asking her several questions that details her life while being in New Orleans. So, Miss Ezeb, question one: how was your life as a child for you, and what were some of your favorite childhood memories?
Well, life as a child for me, I come from a very big family. I come from a family of nine. Two are deceased. My mother was an only child, and my father comes from a very big family. But unfortunately, I didn't know his side of the family that well. So my immediate family is my family, my siblings.
Okay, okay.
Growing up, I attended James Weldon Johnson, Alfred C. Priestley, and L.C. Forshee in that manner. It was elementary, junior high, then high school.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
I think you asked me about some of my fondest memories. Uh, Things that you all you're not probably even familiar with. I played marbles. I loved playing marbles.
Yeah, I've heard of marbles.
And in playing marbles, it was considered to be a boys' game, but because I have six brothers, I always played marbles and always wanted the nice, clear, shiny ones. They were always pretty. And another game we played that you're probably not familiar with is called Rubber Baby, where you throw the ball in the air, you throw out a number, and whatever number the child who's playing is, they had to catch the ball, throw it up again, and then it consistently went. So it was a good exercise that kept us real busy.
Right, right.
And fun.
Right. So, how did you end up at Xavier? I see the Xavier gear. We all know you work here. How did you end up at Xavier?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm repping Xavier now, but I have worked at many universities, and I have changed my, I guess, what I do for a living in many aspects, and some things I still do. I ended up at Xavier as a result of retiring and then going to another university, Loyola for one, and I also worked at Tulane University, which were very nice universities. But for me, having worked at a university about 35 years of my life, which was Dillard University, I retired. And after retiring, I said, well, I'm still too young to just sit at home and do anything. So I went back and I took another job, ended up at Loyola, stayed there a year, uh, decided that that's not what I wanted to do, left, went home, worked at home for a little while, did some things, and said, okay, I miss the kids, which you all are young adults, but to me, you're kids because I'm old enough to be your grandmother. So I went back and said, okay, let me apply somewhere. And I went back and I worked at Tulane. Still didn't get that feel that I was looking for from when I had at Dillard. Then there was a job posted for Xavier. Mind you, I watched this job for almost 2 years before I applied. And because it stayed so long, I felt that it spoke to me and said, Zena, that's where you're supposed to be.
Right.
So then I applied and I was hired. And I've been here ever since. It's been 4 years now. But what I was missing was my children.
Okay.
The young black student at an HBCU trying to working to obtain that degree. That's who I am. That's what speaks to me. I want to be a part of any and every young African American. Not to say that I'm leaving out the other kids. They're fine. But for me, that's where it spoke to me. That's where I felt my greatest. When I came back, I was fulfilled again. And that's how I ended up here at Xavier.
That's definitely a nice story. So then I have to pose the question now. You said you had different avenues in life. You switched up what you wanted to do so many times.
Yes.
If you could go back and speak to your younger self, maybe at the age of 18, what would you say? In other words, what words of advice would you give to your younger self?
To be honest with you, my life has been so fulfilled. The only thing I would tell my younger self is to give myself more time from me.
Okay.
Not to be the person who tries to fix everything or the person who does everything for everybody, but give myself during that time in my life more of me. Fulfill more the things that I wanted to do.
That's powerful.
Thank you.
So many people from all parts of the world come and visit New Orleans, such as myself. I mean, I'm from up north, but I ended up coming to school down south. and now I've been immersed in New Orleans culture.
Mm-hmm.
What makes New Orleans such a special place? And if you can, speak on the favorite aspects of New Orleans culture to you.
Okay, I would think that, and this is just me speaking personally, the most important, I think the thing that draws everybody to us is our congeniality, our ability to make you feel like you are a part of us.
Mm-hmm.
We are like family, whether it's here at home, doing the venues or whatever we're doing. You always have a feeling of acceptance and a feeling of belonging. For me, when I grew up, and I grew up kind of rurally because we didn't have soft drinks and coffee and all that kind. My mother didn't allow us to do that.
Right.
I ate more vegetables than anything. I still do. I still don't drink soft drinks, and still certain things I just do not eat. But I was raised that way. So, like they say, if you never had it, you can't miss it.
Right.
And that's the way it was. But for me, our connection to our heritage is, I think, the most wonderful thing we have. I don't know if they still do it now, but when I was a child, come Super Sunday, you got up 5:30 in the morning. You got dressed and you went and you waited for the Indians to come out and parade and show themselves and their beauty. So that part of New Orleans that I grew up with is still important to me. It's still something I enjoy. Another thing I enjoyed was that we got to show our talents that were taught to us by our people. Mm-hmm. We don't have too much of that anymore because the children are bussed and sent to other schools, and it's a fight to see who can get where. I went to schools in my neighborhood with my friends, and I had a sense of safety as a result of that. Because if your mom worked, you could go by your friend's house, and your friend's mother would call and say, look, I know you're not home yet, but Zena's over here, or Clyde's over here, or Glenn's over here, and vice versa. To me, that's a part of New Orleans that I now cherish because I got to experience it, and I also miss the most because these kids are everywhere now.
Yeah.
You don't have that safety. I can name everybody I went to school with from kindergarten to senior high. We all went to the same school. And that's something to say that you have 12 years of friendship with children that you went to school with in your neighborhood. The kids don't have that anymore. Yes. They're all over. Nice. So that's a part of New Orleans that I miss. I also miss the fact that we have rhythm.
Yeah.
We have music in our soul. We have all those things. I was one who was able to go to schools where there were bands and performances, and you actually practiced, and you went out and you showed your talent in a way that people took away from here and said, wow, I really enjoyed New Orleans. They do things differently. The schools nowadays don't even have those things anymore. I don't know if you've even been exposed to as many schools that had bands and dancers, flag twirlers, majorettes, what are the other things? Cheerleaders. All of these people marched in a parade during Mardi Gras season, and it was a sight to see because we did so many different things. Y'all get a little bit up because some of the schools are still here, like McDonald 35, Carver. Those schools are still here, but the ones Coyne, LC Forshey, McDonald 35 is still here. McDonald. John McDonald, all these schools are no longer in existence, and if they are, they're not doing the things that we did when we were in school. So I feel that that's it's a disappointment and something I'm sorry that you all won't ever. Well, I won't say won't ever be because it may come back around. Everything goes full circle, so maybe, but it's something I'm sorry that the people who come to New Orleans, who visit New Orleans, are missing right now.
So.
But I love our festivals. They're still here. They're going strong, and I have to say I have not missed one yet this year since they've come back.
That's great. That's great. So I was going to ask you a question on the music culture down here and the history of the music, but I feel like you kind of touched on it from your perspective already. So I can shift it to the aftermath of Katrina. How has New Orleans evolved since the aftermath of Katrina? Like, what I guess you already touched on, like, the noticeable differences somewhat, but Could you go into that deeper about her?
When you say evolve, do you mean in terms of the good things? I think I've touched on the things that I missed, but I can say in the good things, although everything is being torn up, everything is in disarray right now. I think that finally New Orleans is making the changes and putting in the infrastructure that we need at this time. Right. It's a mess. It's miserable. The roads and stuff are crazy. But I think when it's all over, this time we will get to see our tax monies, our government monies, our federal monies, all those monies that have come together being put to work the way it is supposed to.
Right, because when I hear the aftermath of Katrina, I hear so much devastation and tragedy. I never get to hear like a positive side of it. So that's why. Yeah.
I can say that is. I can also say that our councilmen, our council people, because it's more than men, our council people are more attentive. This group of people we have now, they're more attentive and they're more easily accessible. And instead of us having to go to them, a lot of them have branched out and said, well, let me go to my constituent. Let me go to the people who have voted me in. That I have really enjoyed. I've really enjoyed the fact that they're reaching out to us, telling us what they would like to see done and what we would like to add to it or what we would like to see taken away from it. That's another good thing I think that's happening in the city. The fact that everything is back somewhat, the festivals, the Essence Fest, the performers, our musicians are back to work. That I love. I've missed it. Oh, you don't miss something until it's really taken away. And it's been taken away so in such a definite pattern that any little thing that I hear about, I'm trying to go, I'm trying to be a part of it. So it's wonderful. It's wonderful to have some of those things back.
It's understandable, and I could definitely touch on the fact that, once you miss something, once you don't realize something is gone until
it's taken away for an extended amount of time. Yes, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I'm glad to see everybody still masked up, everybody taking all the precautions they need to take. So that makes me feel good about what's going on, and the fact that because I have a daughter who is an artist, I have a grandson who is an artist, that they're finally back to work. And they're feeling better about themselves.
Right. Well, thank you, Missy Zeb, for providing me your wisdom, time, and just knowledge, because you said some things that I would never have known.
Well, thank you. I'm glad I could be of help.
It was nice talking to you. Until next time, everybody. Thank you.
And thank you.